Hey, everybody. How's it going? This week, Try just got finished with a charity marathon at the Backloggery, and he is just like wiped out, so he is not going to be joining us. So this time I'm being joined by the 8-Bit Duke. Oh, right. Yeah. So I said, I hope nobody is disappointed. This is like the first time that Try hasn't been present for a stream since I think the third stream we ever did, which was when Joe from GameSack was streamed with me, and that was when we were like on Twitch for.
You sure they're not the same person?
I don't think that anybody was hearing me. I mean, did we just have a? Hang on, will you go ahead and talk? I think I forgot to turn on your microphone before.
Oh no,
Okay, now
nobody
now
heard
now they're
me.
definitely hearing you. They're
Okay.
definitely hearing you.
Woo.
I think that I might have hit the button where I wasn't sending the PC sound effects into the back into itself through the mixer.
Oh man, I know I'm not Tricore, but you don't have to shut me up like that.
Sorry about that, everybody. Luckily, it was just right now that we noticed it.
We're both getting over cold, so
Yeah. It's been an excruciating week, like in terms of recording. For me, like it's. I'll tell you guys, we have some pretty serious episodes on the horizon. There's a lot of people asking us whether or not we were going to cover the NES Mini, and we intended to, and then we
uh,
couldn't get one,
it's
and
the classic edition.
yeah, the classic edition, but we
I
couldn't
just know
get one.
everybody's YouTube videos like NES Classic Edition, also known as Mini, also known as Tiny NES, also known as Thingy in a Box.
Well, we couldn't get one, and then I tried to go. Like I went at midnight, and I went a whole bunch of places the next morning. No luck at all. So I kind of resigned myself to being like, all right, so we're not gonna. This is not gonna be out like in a timely fashion. Like if we said if we were gonna get it on time, we could like rush it out for the next weekend. And then I'd kind of given up hope. I tweeted that we probably won't be doing an episode like anytime soon. And then a friend of the show, Wes from Second Opinion Games podcast, uh, sent me a message and said, "I have an extra one. If you
He
guys,
had a
if you,
second opinion on your prognosis of your show.
yeah," he said, "I can get it out to you this morning, and it's on its way, and hopefully it will be here tomorrow, and then we just go crazy, try to get it done for next weekend."
It'll be interesting to see your take on it because I've obviously have not seen one physically myself either
Hmm.
because I do want to pick one up, but this stuff I've seen, the recording seems, the output of the video looks, pretty nice.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I think that people wanted to see our video on it because we just don't talk about like, oh, this and that. Right? We'll like compare it to like the AVS. We'll compare it to like RGB NES upscaled to the high def NES. So I think that kind of gives us, obviously it's cheaper than that, but we just, it's kind of interesting to see how it compares with an HDMI emulated source from Nintendo themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the game selection is the one thing like that is kind of weird for me. Like, there's a lot of really good games on it, but then there's some where it's just like I don't know who's gonna like. Don't get me wrong, I love Final Fantasy, but I didn't like. I don't know if that would have been an RPG that I would have put on there. Like, what about like Crystalis or uh, all anything but the original Final Fantasy? That's a bit of a slog for
Yeah, but it's got the
today's
name.
game.
I think that
Yes, it is definitely the name recognition for sure.
yeah. So after that, Try is in the middle of cutting the Game Boy episode, which is going to be like almost an hour long. Um,
Get your popcorn.
yeah, seriously, it is. Like, so if you watched last week, you knew that I was kind of like had lost my voice. So I had expected to get it back sooner than I did. So I've been kind of cramming in recording my entire voiceover for it. It took me like 2.5 hours to record for it. Uh, just from like so many mess ups and like I'd cough or something like that. It was just like hard for me to get it all done. But it's gonna be almost an hour long. My part alone, just like the raw sound bites that I gave him, was like 26 minutes. So in dry, like
That's,
he,
I
he,
mean,
he talks a little bit
it's
slower
a
than
good
me.
while.
So, and I think that our word count was like within like 50 of each other. So I think it's going to be like a huge. I think it's going to be a huge undertaking for him to cut that. But
Hey, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, and after that is um, I'm doing an episode on EverDrives and the SC to SNES. Uh, it is probably going to be like I cover every console version. Um, so it's like six different EverDrives, I think. Uh, maybe seven. Um,
Can't keep track of how many
I
ever
know
drove.
it's pretty crazy, but it's kind of. I think that you see a lot of like there's videos out there on EverDrives, but ours kind of gets into a little bit more like nitty gritty. I think about it, and it's going to be kind
Yeah,
of a
it's a lot more to them than just, oh, it's a flash cart.
right,
Cool. There's a lot more because ROMs are they can be finicky. There's, like good set ROMs,
right,
there's a way to know what one you're getting and whether the dump of them is good or not and how they can affect the console itself.
right. I mean, we don't get into like the nitty gritty about like like good ROMs versus bad
Right.
ROMs
Oh
because we
yeah.
don't want to like we don't want to get
That'd be
into like
that's
that
yeah.
aspect of it. But I mean, like I talk a bit about like mappers when it comes to
Right.
the
Yeah, that's I
NES,
think that's more what I mean too.
which like not a lot of people talk about, and it's kind of like you always if you're into like emulation, you've heard these words before, but I mean, I kind of try to explain what they are, and it took me a little while. Like I had to get some help with it
Oh yeah.
this
It's a
morning.
complicated subject.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that's going to be, it could be like 35, 40 minutes. I mean, the script was 12 pages. And in comparison, you look at something like the FrameMeister Alternatives video, which was, I think it was like 32 minutes, and that was 11 pages. So I think that's going to be a kind of a big thing. And yeah, I mean, if everything works out, like it's going to be NES Mini, Game Boy, and then EverDrive's like every Friday going for the like the next 3 weeks. So hopefully that is the that's that's the thing. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Um, other than that, I have a possibility for like another like a totally different episode. There's somebody whose content I enjoy very much, who just happens to be from the same area that I live in. So we're going to get together in December and put together an episode. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. And tonight we're gonna be playing Dragon Quest Swords. It's very appropriate that Duke is joining me because he did an excellent video on this game, like a little bit over a year ago, right? Or was it 2 years ago now?
About 2 years ago now. Yeah, this was a game that I did summer of 2014, if I recall.
Oh wow!
And it was
So it's a little
it
while.
was a little bit it was kind of the second season, if you will, of the 8-bit Duke, where I
Hmm.
started doing more stuff on camera. So
Right.
this has some explanations of how the Wii gameplay works with the game, because it is a people would think of Dragon Quest Swords as a waggle fest, but I tried to show that it was a little bit more deep than that, and I think Corey will experience that depth of complexity
Yeah,
that
I
they
think it's gonna
threw into
be.
this game here tonight.
I recently just got it. I got it a good deal on it for. I got it for $5.
Right. I think mine when I bought it was like 5 or 10, and it had been sitting at the store forever, and I was like, yeah, I don't have that. I'm gonna get it, and it's a great game.
For the record, I am playing this. I'm not upscaling it. It's going in straight 480p, and it is going through the OSSC. then I'm
I
gonna.
played it on a Wii U.
Oh, okay, well, I mean that makes sense. Let me turn up the volume.
Yeah, it's Gene Starwin in the chat says it's a great intro to the world of Dragon Quests, the monsters and some of the lore of the game, and I completely agree with that. It's quite interesting.
The
There's
Masked Queen and
your
Tower
merry
of Mirrors.
There's your merry band of people hanging out there. But yeah, all Dragon Quest games lately have crazy subtitles. And we were talking before we went live that Dragon Quest Builders, while a fantastic game, is missing a kick-ass, just sweet subtitle. Like The Foundations of a Better World or something like that. Or, go real topical and make Alefgard great again. They really could have done that.
This is kind of a little awkward. You got to go through like for your. Right.
I think you're gonna be able to fit your name, and you use giant like jitterbug phone-sized letters. They do it like this though, because like you don't need any accessory to play this game. It is 100% Wiimote, which for some people I think is a good thing, because I know when I got a Wii and it was like, oh, by the way, you need a nunchuck and a classic controller, and it's like, I thought it came with everything I need.
Oh, I don't need a nunchuck for this?
No, this is 100% Wiimote.
Oh, I guess I can unplug the nunchuck then.
Get that extra weight off.
But you think that there's an option to use the nunchuck?
I don't recall if there is or not. I don't think so though, because I can't think of what you could really use it for, unless I'm having like a gaping memory gap or whatever from the last time I played through this. But I've always just played it with the Wiimote.
Well, I guess we'll see. I'm not gonna. If you can do a little bit of moving with the nunchuck, I'd rather do that.
Well, the movement, it pretty much takes place. It is an on rails kind of thing, but you it's kind of tanky sometimes in the areas where you can move a little different. But yeah, most like the combat or whatever is static. Like you don't dodge or anything like that. You have to block.
Oh, okay.
With your shield.
Well, you said there's a lot of story in this kind of.
There is. It's a Dragon Quest game through and through. Because obviously, because it's got the dude with the welder's pig mask thing that is shirtless.
The welder's pig mask.
I know Try hates those guys. Oh, that's you, by the way.
Yeah,
spiky haired dude. Yeah.
Right. I assumed that I recognize him from the intro.
He looks like a Dragon Quest hero.
When I was setting up for the stream, my daughter was up here. She's 4, and she's looked at the screen and saw that. She said, "Are you gonna play this? Is he gonna rescue the princess?"
I don't think you rescue a queen.
Yeah.
Even better than a princess.
And you said this is about 10 hours long, right?
I'd say so. If you want to get through everything, you could put some real time into this, especially because there's ranks and qualifiers.
Right.
There's points at the end of each level, and then there's little extra side things too. So it can really take you a good while. It's no 2-hour romp though, for sure. There's a lot more to it than that.
Well,
this is the tutorial bit right now, and then you're gonna go on this thing for your birthday called the Walk of the Worthy, and you fight at the end of it Sir Dick Worthington, who is it's Dirk Worthington. Dick Worthington sounds more British though, but it's Dirk because everybody's named after a sword. So
swing the Wii remote. So okay. Oh, geez, you have to really do it.
You gotta.
Yeah, I was expecting points for messing this out. There we
go. You gotta really like thrust it. There you go.
I know I can't just oh.
Yeah, it's a there's some dead zone to it, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's this bit here where you've locked it. Yeah, your focal point sets your axes. So now, no matter how you swing it, you're hitting that area. Because there's going to be monsters like drakes that fly around, and you've got to, like, if you want to knock them all down in a line, you've got to actually aim at that area.
Got it. Right.
And yeah, you can thrust too.
All right. I'm not used to doing stuff like this. All right. So there we go.
Which is why I think Nintendo's abandoning the motion control.
There we go. All right. Well, you know, like I'll get used to it.
Yeah, it's not perfect, for sure, because it's not a motion plus game. So it is a lot more, I guess, robust. It's not as robust, is what I mean.
Oh, that's cool. The shield stuff is pretty easy to do, at least.
Two is the shield will deteriorate, so you either have to buy new ones or cast like spells to regenerate your shield, or you know, you could buy different ones that are shaped different, or you know, can withstand more attacks without you having to regenerate it.
The controls are actually intuitive.
Yes, you are strong.
So in the chat said, Gene Starwind. Yes, I do feel like they're. I can play it left or right-handed too.
Mm-hmm.
And have a drink and play.
Have a pizza in one hand.
Yeah.
That's a year's joke.
Oh, the master stroke.
Yes, these are like your limit breaks, if you will. And there you get a whole bunch of different kinds of these. They're pretty nuts.
Oh, jeez. Oh, you have to turn it. Okay. Oh, mighty straight.
Well, they're not all the same, but yeah.
Right. You're indeed an apt pupil. You know. Mellow Gaming, yep, it is just me and Duke this week. Try is recovering. He played him in the Backloggery group Marathon Seiken Densetsu 3. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. With a fan translation. Which is pretty cool, I think.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
And I've never been like a huge fan of the series. Like, it's just something I just never gave the time it deserved. But I've played most of. I don't think I've beaten 3, but I like it. It's a beautiful game for sure.
Yeah. Only my camera showing on the live stream?
I'm seeing both of ours.
I'm just noticing my camera is like way off. Let me see if I can fix that real quick.
Yeah, you're cutting your face off now. It looks like.
There we go. Let me fix that. That's cool. I can do that like live.
Isn't technology amazing?
It is. Oh, here we go. Oh, move. Okay. Okay, so the.
I love that the characters still have, even when they're voice acted, the subtext or the subtitles for each character still has their accent. So it's Zyphos the Deathbringer. Yeah. So this is how you move around. You don't need no other controls.
So it's the same group that does all these translations, right? Like Art Piazza or something like that.
For Dragon Quest?
Yeah.
I You know this. I'm not completely sure. It sometimes changes because they're not always developed by the same people. I think Nintendo had a really big hand in localizing like Dragon Quest VII on the 3DS. Because it's a big difference, and I don't know what they're going to do with 8. Like I don't know if they're reworking its script at all. But 7 needed a script rework just because it was so massive.
And you're playing that right now on the 3DS, right?
Yeah, I'm not much further through 7 than I was when we came down to help you shoot at the arcade thing. Because then I got Builders.
Right.
But
Have
Builders,
you finished that?
oh yeah, yep. I beat Builders on my brother's PlayStation 4, and then I bought a PlayStation 4 and playing through it again and recording it this time.
Really? How long is it?
Let me put it this way. I've recorded a bunch of 20-minute chunks of the first chapter, and I have 130 gigabytes of footage.
Wow.
So it's a good bit. I'd say you could easily give the main part of that game 30 or 40 hours casually.
Wow.
But then there's free build mode. There's challenges with it. There's speed run a part of the challenge. So you have like beat the chapter in 20 days. That's actually pretty hard, especially your first time through. But then there's other things there's little side quests and little extra things to get extra bonuses per chapter. It's an incredibly deep experience, especially if you're a fan of the first Dragon Quest game or Dragon Warrior. All the little meta throwbacks to it are really cool. Something that the series I think tries to do really well with like you're going to hear a lot of the sound effects from the NES games in this game because that's what Dragon Quest does. They love that.
Right. That's one of my favorite things about it is they've always used those original sound effects. Like they kind of tweak them a little bit, but for the most part.
But they're all the same like series of notes or chimes or something like that. But they haven't really changed much. Like I just played through Dragon Warrior on the NES again, and I recorded all of it, and that was a slog. But when you use the wing of the Wyvern, or the Chimera wing, that's completely different now. Well, it's not completely different, but it's they've improved it since then because it's not a very pleasant sound in the first game. Dad Claymore here has to go get drunk and hit on women at the bar. It's pretty much what he does.
The main character's dad?
Yeah, that guy who just walked away, that was Claymore.
Claymore. What's this guy? Is he like the main...
That guy, the sea monster dude, he's important, but he'll make his intentions known. He is not Xiphos the Deathbringer, I'll tell you that. You'll see paintings of him later.
If I make it that far tonight.
Oh yeah, that is a good bit into the game.
So have you beat all mainline Dragon Quest games at this point?
The only one I have not beaten is the new version of 7 and
But you beat the original version of 7.
Yes, like 9 years ago. And let me tell you, this 3DS version is a lot better.
Yeah.
For playing. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more accessible, and the script's a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I have both of them. But I just know, like, I was so afraid to actually play the PlayStation 1 version because I knew it was just like so long. And Try talks about it like it's like the worst. He did not like that game at all.
But I only heard one part of that. You wanted to play the PlayStation 1 version.
Yeah, but Try did not like the PlayStation 1 version.
No, Try. I remember when I was showing Try the 3DS version, he's like, I don't know, this guy, he's
like, I don't know if I can do
this game.
Yeah.
And it's true. It is. Dragon Quest VII is a very good game, but it's kind of hard to feel like a really good Dragon Quest game sometimes because it's so fragmented out. No pun intended. With the whole concept of the game. But like I'm playing through 6 on the DS, which is the one I've never completed.
Oh, you're playing that at the same time?
Oh yeah, I actually we had that game store or that toy show and game show in Ohio in Columbus a couple weeks ago, and I bought it there, and that was a couple weeks before 7 came out, and I played through most of it then, and then I just haven't picked it back up since. But I'm probably like, I have all the party members, I know that. So I just need to get through it again. But it has a full world map that you can run around and explore and really sink your teeth into. And then of course it has the dream world part of it too, which is a slightly different version of that.
I played through 6 on the DS.
Yeah. But in 7 you have a bunch of islands, and each island is super small and everything looks the same, and you're supposed to be going to the past and the future, and there's absolutely no way to know just by looking at it what era you're in, because it all looks the same.
I saw somebody asking about the episodes earlier. It was that Morgan Hess asked. So what has happened is that EverDrives was coming out this coming weekend, and that got delayed because we secured a NES Mini that we're going to be doing an episode for, and hopefully that'll be out this weekend. Game Boy will be out a week from this weekend, and then the weekend after that will be EverDrives. Just to kind of clear it up. And hopefully I'll have my voice will be completely recovered by then.
Felicitations, birthday boy. How peculiar for you
This
to
guy
be
feels
visiting
like
the castle
would be a bad guy.
I imagine you
That's Colonel Cutlass, man. And that's just
No, I'm talking about
just a hero of the realm.
Anlace.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm watching the slightly delayed stream. Nope. He's. I've never heard anybody say felicitation, whatever he said before when he greeted you. But no, he's actually one of your party members. He's just he's just a kind of an asshole.
GD Geometry is coming. We want to work with somebody who is a professional, and we've been trying to get in contact with specific people, but we haven't heard anything back. It's just really important for us to get it right, and we want to be able to work with, like old CRT techs, so that we are sure that we're showing everything correctly.
Yes, this does give rise to
Yes.
a vexing dilemma.
I love the Minister. He's probably my favorite character.
Really?
Unfortunately, the Queen is somewhat unavailable. Just he sounds like he should be in a Disney movie. It raises a most vexing dilemma.
Somewhat directly to the
This episode was when I started to do kind of the SOTs of games in my videos, where I, instead of just talking about a cutscene or whatever, I'll
You like
bring
let
up
it play
the
for a
audio
bit?
from it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like to kind of segment things out. This episode was the first time I did that.
Oh, okay.
And I've pretty much done that with any game that has them, to really show off, especially if, we're talking about the characters. And I did it a lot in my review of Mobius Final Fantasy most recently, because, I'm trying to communicate that the game is much more than just a phone game that has characters and depth and interest to it. And that was something that I started with Dragon Quest Swords' review, and 2 years strong, we're still doing it.
That's crazy. I mean, like, a lot of your videos have been like RPG stuff lately.
Yeah, I probably should do some other things. Because they take so long to play and record and edit and write and do all that stuff for. I've been trying to think lately, like, what's a good not necessarily just a quick thing to do, but something that's not like 40 hours just to record.
Right.
And I try to record almost everything I play now, just because I have, I have enough hard drives. I might as well, but also just that way I've got it. So I've got a couple ideas, but none of them are sticking with me right now, which is always my problem. Even if I write, okay, I'll say like, okay, this next episode I'm going to do this. I'll sit there and I'll be like, I don't really know if I want to talk about that.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like to make decisions like that. But I mean, like we have so many things that we've pushed off for so long that I think that it's. Do I need to buy weapons and items and stuff before I leave?
You should be good with your default stuff, but because you haven't really earned any money, I don't think yet.
Okay.
And it is very Dragon Quest-y. If you go out and die, you lose half your stuff. You come back and you can do it again and buy new stuff. You can always stop and check though. Those are your shops, nearby.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to buy some herbs or something, I don't think that would be a bad idea. And the item shop is right by the gate.
Dustin, the only other RGB monitors I've really spent any like significant time with are Ikagi's. No experience with Hitachi at all.
I've owned a lot of Hitachi stuff, but not any of their televisions.
Oh, we got Jimmy Happa in the chat.
Oh yes.
Jimmy, we need to talk about at some point. We need to talk about 4 meg RAM carts, official 4 meg RAM carts for the Saturn. At some point in the future, we need to talk about that.
What they could have done with this game is just literally had, you whack some slimes, it's fun. But instead they made this like legitimate Dragon Quest adventure with characters that interact with each other and yell occasionally. Like your father when he wakes you up to go on this thing. What's that?
I can't leave the path. I walk on the path.
Yeah, you stay on the path. Yeah, you can turn. Unlike in the town, though, you're really on rails. I liked it, though, that the tutorial the things to look out for, a she slime killing you. But you can back up and stuff, but you can't like turn around, which I think is kind of silly.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, so you just whack them around.
I see.
You literally slice them in half, which is always fun.
Yes.
But yes. So anything can pretty much be blocked by your shield.
Oh, right. I got to remember that. Oh,
yeah.
That's right. I can just hold down B to move forward. I can't forget that.
Right. Yeah. Of course, when you're in battle, you're stopped and you can't move anywhere. But encounters they're not really always random. They do kind of occur at the same places, and so that if you find like a cave that has like a big hill going into the cave, like some rock bombs might roll out of it or something like that. But sometimes if you like leave this area and come back, you may not fight these exact slimes in this same place all the time.
Right.
So they change it up a little bit. But you won't ever fight like stronger monsters on this level, as far as I can remember.
I am a sucker for games that have. You can see the shadows of clouds rolling over over the.
It's Wii's never been a graphical powerhouse or anything, but the atmosphere I think they really nailed with this, especially when you get into the caves and all these things. Like the fact that you can see all the way through to like your you can see the cave you want to go to at the very end of this path. And that's pretty neat. There's no fog or nonsense like that. Oh, so the moles are gonna throw dirt at you, yeah.
Right. Uh-oh. Press down the control pad. Got the menu.
Yeah, and it's hard sometimes because two things block you or two things attack you, How can you block them? Some things you can't hit back though. Some attacks you can hit back with your sword.
Okay. And Jimmy has a question. Said, was this game derived from Dragon Quest Monster Battle Road? Are you familiar with Dragon Quest Monster Battle Road?
Yes, it was. I'm trying to remember exactly what.
So you can just go like crazy on these guys if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, you can just wag the freaking thing around if you wanted to. So Dragon Quest Monster Battle Road, I think there was a few different things like that, but the one that this game was directly from was the one that had, it was literally the same thing. It was like one of those plug and play things that you plug into your TV, and you had a little sword remote, and you would go through the same thing. It kind of looked like a fancy PlayStation 1 or Super Nintendo game. And you'd whack slimes and go through dungeons and stuff like that, and it was pretty neat. And unfortunately, I had to ask somebody who had it that could record footage for it for me to use, because I did not have one that I talk about in my video for it. But I don't remember what that one was, but it is not Dragon Quest Monster Battle Road. TV, though that seems to be kind of similar. I'm trying to look up videos for it now. I'm trying to remember exactly what this is called.
I'm gonna return to town so I can heal myself.
Yeah, you would definitely want to buy some herb.
Just a little bit.
It's Kenshin Dragon Quest Yomi. I can barely pronounce English words, so Yomi Densu no Ken. And it was literally a Dragon Quest plug and play kind of thing that just went into your TV. No console required, and it had a little toy sword.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
it had beautiful composite output. I mean, this is a 2003 thing. I mean, so it's old. But yeah, it was this little shield that was the game console. Then you had a little sword, and you would just wag it around. And I think
you should do a video on that.
If I could get one, yeah, I definitely would talk about it more. But unfortunately, I've never seen one in the wild.
So do I only have a certain amount of room in my pockets?
I believe so. You have a couple slots.
Okay.
Yeah. So I from the streams I'm seeing, I see the you just bought an antidotal herb. You definitely want to buy a lot of medicals, because I don't think you don't have to worry
I got
too
like
much.
6 of them, I think.
Okay. I was in another tab.
What's this? So can I like rest at home?
You should be back at full health, actually.
Oh, it just does it when you go back to town?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
cool.
I'm pretty sure.
We do have a NES Classic coming, and hopefully it will arrive tomorrow. Just in enough time to get an episode out by next weekend. Try is in the middle of editing the Game Boy episodes, so it's gonna
That
be
or
all,
sleeping.
It's gonna be all me on it, and it's gonna be weird because he does all the NES stuff, and it's gonna be the first time I've like really. I haven't edited an RGB episode since 104, which is kind of crazy, which is like last December.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know. Is there like an autosave, or do I gotta save at the church?
You do have to save at the church.
Okay.
It's Dragon Quest. There ain't no autosave.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's healing me when I go to the town.
Yeah, well, that's very non-Dragon Quest.
I would love to get through Retrobit Generations. I sent a message to Retrobit about it, but I haven't heard anything back. I'm definitely interested in that, though.
How many of those Genesis cart things have there been, though? Because I seem to, like, when the thing came out for the NES Classic Edition, I was like, yeah, the Genesis already has, like, these second-hand or third-party things that you can put cartridges in or have all this stuff. It seems like the Genesis has had a lot of those. I don't think any of them have been
Yeah.
good.
But I mean, the one that's coming out in like is getting re-released is like just a full-on Genesis.
It's okay.
I mean, it has like direct like RCA composite out. It doesn't use like the typical Genesis style AV out.
Right.
Does this game get really, really hard eventually?
It does, actually. You will be grinding, actually, at some point. You do have levels and you different equipment. Like right now, you have a copper sword, I think, and your level, like you just leveled up from what I see. So you get more health and HP, and you know that you can buy more armor and all that stuff. But the actual enemy patterns and stuff, they do get pretty complicated.
Yeah.
Especially some of the bosses. They can get pretty nuts.
RGT, I did not talk to anybody. I just sent him a message on Facebook, which is probably not like the best way to go about it, but you know,
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, we're really only starting to, up until now, like the stuff we've gotten to cover, like review and stuff, has just been like more like homebrew stuff. But only until recently. We had hoped to get an NES Mini from Nintendo. Like we thought maybe we'd be on their radar, but like, I mean, I don't know like why we thought that. So we've kind of
because there are people who have one that you would be surprised were on Nintendo's radar.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Well, not just that, but I mean, it's the reason they haven't is because they contacted them. So we're being proactive about things from now on, and we're contacting them directly. It was foolish of us to like think that like, oh, they would just probably just like notice us, and because something like that would be up our alley, like as silly, and we just like thought maybe that was going to be the case. But in retrospect, it's just like totally idiotic. And now we're going and getting in touch with them specifically. RGT, I would be super interested in that.
You should try to hit one of the mole's dirt things back at them. See what that does.
Oh, okay.
You know, go Ocarina of Time on it.
Right.
So I think hitting them back is the only way you can block the two, since they're attacking you twice. Oh, they run away a lot. Some monsters will just run away.
Who's this guy?
Welcome to Caliburn. There's no mistaking a son of old Claymore, is there?
Since my thing's delayed, I'm not sure what guy you're talking about.
It's just some guy outside the cavern.
Okay.
Ready
Yeah,
for
I
the
see
true
that
test
now.
said yes.
Right. Well, here are a few
Oh, it's
things
Colonel
to go
Cutlass,
your
yeah.
way.
Oh no, this is one of his lieutenants. He just wears the same armor. That's right.
All right then. I pray that she will see you
All right.
safe through the challenges that
Jimmy
lie
Hoppa
ahead.
doing some day drinking.
That's
It's
what I was
like-
doing yesterday.
Yeah, but it's there's a difference between doing some day drinking like on Saturday versus like Monday.
That's true, but the day drinking doesn't
RGT, Sean,
discriminate.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'll look out for the message because I'm really curious about the retro bit generations. See if I can heal myself. I got 9 of them, so I'm good.
Oh yeah, this cave is the end of this level, so it's it's a long level, but I mean relatively speaking.
Come on. Oh, I see. Okay.
I think those Drakies are always a little too happy.
Oops. I guess I can't kill them when they're trying to get away. It'll be disappointing the mini NES retro mode it emulates can possibly. I think that's actually kind of cool.
It's the
mean-
same thing what emulators do with like adding scan lines, like in RetroArch. You know, you can artificially, or certain palettes and filters and stuff like that, you make it look as retro as you like. But at the end of the day, it's still fake.
Oh, jeez, I'm poisoned. Come on.
I guess it's a good thing you did buy those antidotal herbs.
Oh,
All
I
right,
see.
so these guys will always be metal, or will be babbles to me. Liquid slime, just you know, I just can't get used to that. They're always going to be babbles. These guys, yeah, this is gonna say the babbles are easier to slice vertically than horizontally because they'll jump over it.
Jeez, come on, guys. Come on. Do you stay poisoned? You do.
Yeah, unless you use the herb, yeah, you're pretty much gonna stay poisoned. Of course, you can at any point in battle you can use items and stuff. Now, once you get party members, they will like take care of you. They'll heal you if they know magic spells to do that, or you know, cast Squelch to like remove your poison.
How do I send the? Oh, I see. I can hit their attacks, right?
Some
There we
monsters,
go.
yeah, you can hit them back.
Nice.
Yeah. Arrows and stuff. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, if the attack is red, you can't hit it back, but if it's blue, you can. That's right.
There we go.
Yeah, if you don't set a focal point, it just attacks in the center, which is a nice default, but there's not always enemies there.
I got a lucky bag.
All bags are lucky.
Yeah, look inside the lucky bag you found on your travels. Cool. How about a game of lucky bag? Oh, you can choose where I'm gonna go in here. That's cool.
Yeah, sometimes you'll have a dead end, sometimes you'll find treasure. It's all kinds of stuff.
You know, this is pretty cool. It's very obviously like not like a cash grab, you know?
No, yeah, they put thought into this game, I think, for sure. You know, it doesn't always hit its marks. You know, sometimes the Wii remote just doesn't cooperate the way you'd like it to, and you know, this is the game. I mean, the monsters change. The story is actually, I think, pretty cool, but it's a lot of going around on rails, fighting stuff. So if you're not into that, you know, it's not going to eventually get better, but it's not just what the Wii was, I think, known for, and unfortunately in some aspects, a cash grabby waggle fest nonsense. Motion controls for the sake of motion controls. They built, you know, a convincing Dragon Quest game around that, which I think is certainly commendable.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Somebody's asking in the chat, Leon, about Wii homebrew retro emulators, and I'm not sure if he means like the homebrew channel and stuff, but that's actually something I've done a lot with.
Yeah. Go for it, because I have not really done anything with it.
Yeah, before when I used to do videos for Classic Game Room Undertow, I was big into the emulation available through the homebrew channel on the original Wii, and did that a lot to try to like audition things that I wanted to buy, or have a more reliable way of recording, like like Sega Master System stuff. My Sega Master System was broken, so I didn't really have a way to do anything with it. And then I still have never gotten a new one. But I could still like try out these games that I liked because I either owned them or could emulate them reliably through that. Now, of course, I have a Raspberry Pi that I showed you, Corey, that has
I plan on
retro
getting one
stuff.
too.
They're pretty neat. I mean, and they're so easy to set up now and get going. And I still haven't got the picture, to look quite as good as like RGB NES, I think could.
I mean, I think it looks. I thought it looked pretty good when you were here.
Yeah, but when Try was like, I noticed that the tiles shimmering in Dragon Warrior. I was like, damn it.
Oh, right, because of the non-integer scaling.
Well, yeah, and it has an integer scale to it, but it's not like perfect. It's not true. Like I still see that stuff, and now that it's been pointed out to me, like so Try like
you can't unsee it now.
Yeah, and I've tried it in other emulators, and you still see it in some regards. It's been a while since I've used an emulator on my Mac though, so I need to do that again to do a little bit more comparison. But on my Wii U, I did the Smash Stack hack, which lets me in Wii mode load up Super Smash Bros. Brawl, do a custom stage thing that loads the ability to put the homebrew channel on it, and from there I got GameCube game backups to work on it, so I can take my Game Boy game rips and go pretty well through it. And it looks great. It's Game Boy games on the Wii, but running on the Wii U, so it's upscaled, which is pretty cool. And the importer asked, how's the lag on the Raspberry Pi unit? I think it's pretty good. I need to use an actual like USB connected controller to really confirm if it's not just my 8-bit DOE controller's inherent lag to it, if that introduces anything. But then again, I have not played a lot of like platformer games on it. I will say I did play through Aria of Sorrow, Castlevania, on the Game Boy Advance on it just this past week, and I only died 3 times, so I think it must have been all right. So I'd say it's actually fairly good, just because input lag is generally because the TV is processing a signal that it's not natively able to do well. It's got to upscale it, right? I mean, that's where input lag comes in.
Well, yeah, and also like just the display technology. Like if it's running it through a bunch of different like filters and stuff like that, that's what game mode like helps with.
Right. And my TV, I have a cheapo deluxe 40-inch TV. That it's 1080, but it's not like, it doesn't have a game mode or anything like that. But I have not done the manual lag test with the 240p test suite. That's actually something I should check out.
You can do that on the Raspberry Pi.
I'm sure there's a way to. I'd have to look into that. I'll have to refresh my 240p test suite knowledge with your video. Yeah, so you got the rank B on that level. In that level, that was 10 minutes. I mean, so most of them are going to be like that. Some of them are going to be significantly longer than 10 minutes. But yeah, okay, yeah, so your lucky bag, you got a helmet, so the hardwood headwear is a pretty good thing. And of course, Sir Dirk Worthington, you can come back and find him as often as you like. And it's pretty cool.
And grind it.
Yeah.
You're probably too young to remember MTV's The Grind. The show.
I'm too not hip to know anything about MTV, let alone too young. No, I was a Fuse TV guy when I was a teenager.
Well, the Grind is like before Fuse was even a thing.
Okay, then yeah, I'm far too young.
I gotta go back to the castle. I might see if I can buy some new weapons. Can I buy some?
Yeah, you should have plenty of gold to check out some stuff. Yeah, it kind of sucks that the town's really the only place you could like fully walk around and explore, but
that's fine.
It also makes sense.
Is this like the only hub, like the only town you go to?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's fine.
Avalonia is a very small nation.
That's all right.
You can on the Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi, either running Emulation Station or sorry, RetroPie or Recalbox or any of those things that run the Emulation Station, which you can get on Windows, which is just RetroArch, which is the libretro emulator cores. It's a whole thing. It can add scan lines. It can add filters to kind of make things look like they're playing on a CRT. They can add palettes. So if you want the RGB closest palette, the natural palette or whatever, you can have that. You want one that looks more like the composite colors, you can have that. And people can make and download and add all sorts of palettes. You can add the PlayChoice 10 palette. You can put that on there if you want that PPU's look. You have a copper sword already, and by the time I say this, you probably have already decided not to buy that. But you can temper stuff too. You can combine weapons that you get into new ones.
But it looks like I can't do it. I shouldn't do anything with it yet because I just have my starting sword. Or should I do it?
Hello, my lover. Welcome to the. That lady's freaking weird. But the Retro Pi, the one I have, the Raspberry Pi 3, has an HDMI out. But of course, you could put that into a composite converter if you wanted to, and plug it into a CRT TV. But the older ones, the Raspberry Pi 1, I think, has a composite output and a stereo output through RCA or whatever. So you could hook that up to an old school TV. There are people, they do some really cool projects. I know one guy that has an old school TV from like the 70s or 80s, and he got an HDMI to composite to those like prong things that hook up into the antenna connector or whatever, and he's thrown all that. LGR did something similar to that with his HDMI input to a TV that he played Doom on. That's like black and white. It's
right. It's like the really old TV.
You can convert anything to anything, as far as I'm concerned. Which is
it's
pretty
true.
You know, people are like, "Can you hook this up into this?" The answer is usually yes.
Okay, so I got to get materials.
Yeah, stuff like the monster bones that you picked up and stuff like, you could do that too. Yeah, I guess the Pi 3 does have the actual composite output. I just...
This guy like drinking by himself over here. It looks like he's drunk. Yeah.
It's Dragon Quest. It's one.
Is there any puff in this? Somewhere?
I think they mentioned it somewhere. I can't, because it's Nintendo. I'm not sure if they toned that down a little bit or not.
That is what it's called, right?
Oh yeah, Puff is the sexual preference act of Japan as a nation, I think.
Speaking of like weird Dragon Quest things, my friend Joey has the Dragon Quest IV soundtrack on audio cassette.
Yeah, that was, and we listened to that, and it was freaking sweet.
Yeah,
I forget how good.
They special package and everything.
Yeah, you know, I have tried to look those up, and I can't find any. I haven't given it, you know, the kind of time to like really dive into looking for them, but I want those because it is my freaking goal to get as many Dragon Quest related things as I can. Like I've got my Descendant of Erdrick and Lego that I really like, that I bought at MagFest last year, or this past MagFest, I guess. And I want to get the Symphonic Suites on CD, and now I want them on cassette now that I know that they're there, because I want them. That's my collector's thing is Dragon Quest.
You know, you're getting that analog bug.
Yes, yep. I mean, I've got my on the only Famicom one I still need in the box is the first, which for some reason I can't find as cheap as I can find the other three. But you can get, I mean, it's a relatively easy series to collect for, especially if you want the Japanese stuff, I should say. because the NES games are, expensive. But like I just replaced my Dragon Warrior a couple months ago with a cleaner copy, because mine was sticky and gross because it was old.
Do I know where I'm supposed to go right now?
There's a way to check your objective. I don't know if it's in your menu or not. You might be able to just go out to the world map and see if anything is available to you.
All right.
But yeah, see if there's in your miscellaneous what you have to do. If there's that, I can't remember.
Does anyone have any good quality videos of 80s anime? I don't know. Speaking of anime, did you see the trailer for Ghost in the Shell?
I have not.
Oh, I think it looks really good. But then again, I'm not like a huge fan of like the anime. I mean, I saw it when I was like in high school, but
I'm the guy who likes Dragon Quest, Gundam Wing, Zero or whatever the first Gundam Wing we got over here.
Yeah.
With Hiro Yuri or whatever. Like, I really like that, and people tell me I'm lame for that. So I don't know if I'm an anime tour de force.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point where I kind of watched a bunch, like when I was like first couple of years of college, because it was DVD was still really new, and anime was like there's very little of it coming out at a time, so I would just like buy what came out.
Mm-hmm.
And but soon I just got overwhelmed, and I kind of just stopped watching it in general. But I think the movie like looks really cool.
No, she wasn't at the castle.
And I highly recommend checking it out.
Who's that banging on
I
the
watched
door?
it almost as many times as I watched the trailer for Train Spotting 2,
Lass I was getting to know.
which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if you went and told your dad that you completed the walk of the world.
Yeah.
Forgive the intrusion, but
Well, they haven't really said this yet, but Claymore and a group of others are the people who saved Avalonia 5 years before the Dragon Quest Swords takes place. That's why Claymore only has one hand. And so you're kind of, it's not Dragon Quest V, of course, where you're not the legendary hero or whatever, and your son is, but you are from, you are related to the great adventures and heroes that eventually save the world. And it's sometimes weird when they go to this first person to third person look and your hero just shows up, because sometimes, like when I was playing it,
He's hanging out.
I just forgot that was me. I was like, who's the kid in red? Oh wait, that's me.
Mother has ventured off.
No, it
Yeah,
is really
he
cool.
looks like he's about 10.
Well, he's 16, if you can believe it.
There's a hot spring there that caps them
I don't
all.
believe that for a second.
He is pretty short, all things considered, because I think Anlance is supposed to be a similar age to you.
Oh, okay. Does Anlance join me?
She absconded with
He should actually, for your next quest.
which brings
You'll gain party members fairly quickly.
Will you
Okay.
escort me?
Have you seen, Studio Bad Guy was talking about 80s Dragon Warrior anime. Have you seen any?
I have seen like pieces of it, and there was a few.
Mhm.
I think there were two different ones. And I know we had one that was like very briefly dubbed in English, I think, that ran over here for, very, very quickly. I don't think it was very successful one bit.
You mean to say?
But I know it didn't have a lot to do with any particular game, which, of course, Dragon Quest is not a series that relates similarly to any one game. There's connections, of course, between some, but they're not a continuing story each time. But I know the anime that I've seen kind of looks like it's based on Dragon Quest III, like in terms of style, but it uses a lot of music I've heard in 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen a full episode of it, but I've seen clips on YouTube, and I know there was a point where I could find where somebody had them all subbed. And
Really?
I wanted to. By the time I had like the inclination to go do it, I couldn't find them again. And of course, I think they were like named in Japanese or something, but I can't find them on Amazon or eBay or like DVDs or VHSs of them. But I know there's a manga series of it. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
That lad's always been a sight too worried about it.
Dia no Diadoke, and I can't pronounce anything right.
If I said I wasn't a bit worried myself this time.
But it ran from 89 to 96, according to mangareader.net. I just looked this up.
Jimmy's talking about Record of Lodoss War, which is I've had like the box set of like the original like OAV. Is that what it is? What the original series are usually called?
Original
OAV
video.
or OVA. I always original version anime. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. Original anime version. I don't know.
That Sonic the Hedgehog movie was.
The OAV or OVA? I don't remember like which one it is.
I remember it called OVA, Original Video Animation. I think is what it stood for.
Maybe that is. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that I watched when I was, in early college, but after that,
As a young Coury.
yeah, I was just a boy.
When I was a young boy, my father bought me anime. But yeah, there was always Dragon Quest manga has always had a bunch of different ones. Like there was the Legend of Rondo or the Emblem of Rondo or something like that, which is pretty much about Dragon Quest 3 because that is who you are. But yeah, Dia no Diakobin or Dia's Quest or whatever. That was like an original one. I think that was an anime series too. But no, I don't know too much about it to speak on any authority. But I'm pretty sure there were 2 animes.
Okay. I've always been curious to watch that the Final Fantasy one that came out like in the 90s, because apparently it like takes place in the same world as 5, and we didn't get 5 here until like the late until like the late 90s.
Yeah, when it came out on the PlayStation.
Yeah. So I wonder if there's any connections. If you watch it now after having played that game.
When you have made ready, we shall
Was it Final Fantasy Unlimited? Is that what it was called?
No, I think it was something else. I don't remember. I feel like Final Fantasy Unlimited was like one that was like later on, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've got me. This one I'm seeing says it ran from 01 to 02. The Final Fantasy Unlimited.
Oh.
Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals. That would sound like something that would take place for 5. Yep. Okay, I have seen this. I've seen pieces of it. The story takes place on the same world as Final Fantasy V, named Planet R. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Set 200 years into the future, where 3 of the 4 crystals have been stolen.
Interesting.
The original heroes of 5 are now legends of the past, and a new evil, Death Geonos, has risen on the Black Moon and must be dealt with. Mid, a recurring character from Final Fantasy V, contacts a new hero and heroine, Pretz and Linley, a descendant of Bartz, because Bartz was a stupid name. Let's have another one.
Bartz. It's so funny.
Butts.
Yeah, he'll always be Butts to me because I'll think of that, that first fan translation.
Yep.
Butts. It's a great name.
I remember because my first experience with those Final Fantasy game was through emulation, and of course, they showed up in the. So I had a Windows 95 computer, and for my 10th birthday, my uncle gave me a CD with a bunch of emulators and ROMs on it, and I played those games, and we had all the Final Fantasy games on there. So it was Final Fantasy 2, 3, 4. 5 and 6 all on the Super Nintendo, and of course I didn't realize when I first played through them that 2 and 4 were the same game.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, something's wrong. 4 is exactly like 2, And then I played 3, and then I'd play 5, and I'd be like, why does 5 look worse than 3? Why are we going back?
Right.
Because I didn't realize that 3 was actually 6, because I was, young and stupid.
Right. I mean,
that
honestly,
lasted like 2 days, but
I call 6-3 a majority of the time. It's just because it's what it would always be to me.
Mhm. I think especially if you're referring to the actual release on the Super Nintendo, I mean,
right.
that is what it is.
Exactly.
But if you go past that, it kind of gets confusing.
Right. I mean, that's like exactly the point. I'll whenever I talk about like the Super Nintendo version, I will always say 3 because it's just what it was to me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What happened?
That zombie jumped like
Oh,
popped up in front of
yeah.
me.
Yeah, this is a fun level. The boss in this level is fun. Now, so you have Anlance as a party member, and he will occasionally cast magic on his own, but you also have tactics that you can set for him, and you can at any time tell him what to do in the menu.
Okay.
So if you need him to cast heal on you immediately, and he's just not doing it, you can tell him to. Same with like attack magic, like if he knew Frizz or something, you can do that.
Damage spell shrinks your shield for a period of time.
So some of the replayability is I think eventually you can break those boulders if you know the right spell or the right person with you. Oh yeah, diminish shield, which is Dragon Quest I think always has a really fun way of naming spells. That makes your shield smaller, and then of course you can make it bigger with certain other magic spells and stuff. Can't remember what the green Drakies are called. They're not Magidrakes because those are red. I think they're Drakey. No, Drakey Mamas are yellow. I think. Can't remember what the green ones are called.
Oh, there he is. Oh, he just like killed everybody. Crazy dude.
Crazy shit.
Let's see. It is tough. Sometimes it doesn't quite do what I want it to.
Yeah, and I think if they would have made this a Motion Plus game, which of course wasn't a thing when this came out,
Right.
it could have been a lot different. But I do like how arcadey it is in a way. I could easily see this being, just like something you'd play in an arcade, which for all I know, they probably did in Japan in some fashion. I know there's got to be Dragon Quest arcade games out there.
You'd think so.
What I really want to see is, and I kind of showed it, but I don't really talk about it in the video, but in my Mobius Final Fantasy review, I said that like there's a ton of content in the game from Japan, but who knows if we're going to get it over here. And we've had a pretty good track record. We're not missing anything yet.
Right.
In terms of like release schedule and stuff. Like they didn't have something before we had the stuff that we've got. But they have a Dragon Quest event for the 30th anniversary where you literally go to a world that's like Dragon Quest and you look like the Prince of Lorelei or whatever, the hero from the second game.
Mm-hmm. In what? In
this
game?
No, in Mobius Final Fantasy, they have a crossover event.
Oh, that's cool.
And that would be pretty neat if we got that over here in the English version. But that game, man, I'm glad I finished that review because they just released a bunch of new content for it, and they changed the interface a little bit again. It's like, oh man, glad I got that done instead of having to review a bunch more stuff or record
But that's
it
frustrating too because like now it's like out of date.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's not like too crazy different, but just enough to where like I noticed it.
And that was would be because that you had that happen before.
Yeah. Because I was almost done with that review when the 3rd chapter came out, and I had this like 2 or 3 minute bit in the video where I talk about how we have no idea like when Square's going to bother releasing even the 3rd chapter, yada yada yada. And it's like, oh great, they just did. and it didn't make any sense if I just cut that part out, so I had to re-record it. But I took that time to clean it up, refine a few other points, and it's a better video for it, but still. Definitely glad to be past that one. But like Final Fantasy Record Keeper is a game that like looks completely different now than when it came out, like interface wise. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, because some areas have like,
I played that one for like a month.
yeah, it's, I don't know. Brave Exvius is a lot cooler than Record Keeper, I think, because it has like dungeons and floors that you can actually walk around in, which Mobius does not. It has a few areas where you can walk around, but they're few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
Record Keeper is just click, 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 go through. There's no real story. You're restoring the lost memories of paintings. Wow, boring. Brave Exvius actually has like characters and a plot and a world and murderous betrayal and all that fun Final Fantasy stuff. And Mobius has a really interesting story too, at least after the 1st chapter. It takes a while to pick up. But and the new area that they just released, the exploration region, is the hunting grounds, and you actually have to go hunt monsters, which sadly is not like the monster hunting event in Final Fantasy IX, which would have been totally cool. Because they call these characters blanks, and I almost made that joke in the video where every time I said blank, I was going to have blank from Final Fantasy IX come on the screen. But I thought that would be a little too annoying. And there's actually, I have a cut of it somewhere. I'll have to find it and show it to you. Where I do it for the first like 3 minutes. Every time I say blank, he just pops out of the back of the screen. You just have to go find these monsters and kill them and get their license or whatever and go through. But it takes place on like this pirate themed island, and hearing your character. I don't know if you played Bravely Default.
No, I have it. I have it in the second one.
I do love Bravely Default. They're very good games, but the main character in that is voiced by the same guy who does the voice of the main character in Mobius, whose name is Wall, though you can name him whatever you want, but his canon name is literally the acronym of Warrior of Light.
Oh, wow.
Which is so stupid. Because it's like, we need a name for our new hero that's the Warrior of Light. We've had a couple Warrior of Lights in this series before. Let's call this one Wall. But he's voiced by the same guy who does Tiz Aurier. But the difference this time is Tiz is like a hyper energetic, like positive sounding guy. And then the guy in Mobius is like, so you want to go find booty, huh? In this pirate land? Should have seen that one coming. He always sounds bored, which he is. He just doesn't care about anything. But I still think that's hilarious. So what do you think of the voice acting in Sword so far? I don't know if you've
I haven't had a lot of chance to like really like focus on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew like that's like, that's the case like when it comes to like streams and stuff. That's why I think I rarely play games I haven't played very much on here. So you said you just got a PS4, right? Did you buy it new?
I bought it used, and then they dropped out, and then they released the Pro on Friday.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, I don't know if it was a good idea to do that or not, but I don't know. I don't know if the Pro is really going to be a thing that I need or will have any better, because I don't have a 4K TV. I know some games are like, well, you can have like 60 frames per second versions of 1080p games.
Right.
It's like, yeah, but I don't know. It was $250, so it's not like it was a great like discount versus buying a Pro.
Right.
But it's a lot easier for me to stomach the idea of spending $250 versus $400.
Yeah, but still, I mean.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, Troy got a Pro, but I did not. Now that you have a PS4, are you gonna get Are you gonna get Final Fantasy 15?
Damn, Skippy. I don't know if I'll get it the day it comes out. I haven't gotten World of Final Fantasy yet, just because I just can't afford, to buy a bunch of games for it right now.
Right.
I played the demo of World of Final Fantasy, and I know it's a demo, but it does not make me want the game very much.
Oh, really?
It's just because I don't know what's going on. They're like, oh, you can get a mirage, and I'm like, well, what's a mirage? It's like, well, it's the monster, and then you catch them like Pokemon, I guess. And it's like, I don't know. But my friend Daniel, who you met, he just beat World of Final Fantasy, and it took him about 64 hours.
Oh, wow.
And he's got 5 monsters left to catch before he's caught every single one of them, from what he says. So he says it's a very good game, and it does look cool, but the demo is not, it's not selling me on it. But I played the Platinum demo of Final Fantasy 15, and kind of a similar thing. Like, it looks cool, but I didn't play the demo that comes with Type 0 HD, because I just don't own that game.
Yeah, I didn't play it either. The only demo I played was the free one with the main character as a little kid.
Right, the Platinum demo, yeah.
Yeah.
And the frame rate of that game kind of bothers me a little bit. And I'm not somebody who usually gets hung up on frame rates, but
Right.
it almost it felt stuttery. And I think that's something that people have said is addressed more in the later gameplay videos we've seen. It looks damn gorgeous, and from what I've seen of streams of Japanese shows or whatever, it definitely looks cool. And the new demo looks really neat. The Judgment Disc,
Yeah.
which is Japanese, I guess, but it looks like it's going to be pretty cool.
I can't say that I've just gotten into this thing where I know I'm gonna buy a game and I just really stop paying attention to it. I mean, I played the Platinum demo because it unlocks something in the full game, and that's the only thing I've even looked at of Final Fantasy since
I see a break in the undergrowth.
like
And sunlight.
that thing where they announced the release date. But I didn't watch any trailers or anything.
I guess like trailers and some stuff like that I can get into and I'll enjoy, but so people are upset always with Pokemon, always getting you always find out this stuff and it's like, oh great, now this is spoiled from me, and I'm like, yeah, that's because you're hunting down all this crap with it, I think,
Yeah.
and I just don't want that, and I'm not super into Pokemon right now, but
What is that rumble?
I've never been so into a game where I'm I gotta find out everything about the game before I ever play it. I want to be surprised at some point or
Right.
feel like I'm experiencing something, because I'm never gonna have that experience of playing a game for the first time if I already know everything about it. I want to know enough that makes me want to buy it, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just know I'm gonna buy it anyways.
I mean, it's Final Fantasy. I
Yeah.
mean, and it looks freaking sweet. I'm interested. It's what I think Final Fantasy VII wanted to be in some cases, where it's a modern world. And Final Fantasy VII, I'll play that remake when it comes out now. I don't want to look too much into it because I want to be surprised. Unless people say it sucks, then I'm going to be like, oh, why does it suck? Better buy it and find out. Yeah, so the Golem, this guy's actually pretty tough.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's hard to tell where he's gonna hit.
Yeah. He'll you kind of get used to it after a while, because it's kind of in the same 4 extremities. So when he gets stuck, after his 3rd or 4th punch, I think you want to thrust your sword, or I think maybe just slashing is good. And he just that's his time to get hit.
I'm gonna use the mighty stroke on it.
They probably could have called that anything else.
Mighty strike.
Still.
Oh, he's pissed now. My shield is almost wrecked.
Yeah, so there are ways to get replenish shield kind of stuff. Or I think you can even, I don't remember if you can buy shields to take with you in case yours breaks. But I am pretty sure that if your shield breaks, that's it. You can't block an attack. I'm fairly certain. It has been, it's been about a year since I played through this game again.
Oh, even after doing the review, you did the.
Well, the review was 2 years ago, and then I played it again last year.
That's cool. I mean that so rarely happens
Yeah.
with me. Like
I mean, it's a fun game. It's like, it's like Fortune Street. Like, I can play through that every now and then, just for casually play a couple rounds. Though now that you can't play it online, it kind of stinks. But, they're games that I like, and, I can't play them a bunch right after each other, but, this is a game that, it's fun to pop in every now and then. Another B rank. It's not bad.
It's not bad. At least I don't think. I see people talking about Xbox component cables.
Oh, you scored a couple good ones of those.
Yeah, like the official ones that came with like later models or later release systems. They're not the AV pack where you plug your own component cables into them, but they're actually like full-on component cables. And tried it like an AB between the two of them, and there's like a major difference in quality.
That's pretty interesting to me, because it's to me, I've always thought of cables as cables, and not that that they should really be that different from each other. Because I know people are like, "Oh, the monster cables are the best." And it's like,
well, monster cables are very, very good are supposed to be very good on the original Xbox as well. I haven't found any, but if you get a chance to get some official cables, Xbox cables, I think that eventually they could be like harder to find. But right now you can pretty much get them at like flea markets and stuff for like $10. I mean, they're really heavy duty looking.
So this is a pretty cool scene, because this is where the story really picks up for Dragon Quest Swords.
Oh, okay. She has,
And
like,
I think
mask on.
they occasionally mispronounce Anless's name. I can't remember, but sometimes the voice actors, because they all have different accents, so they sometimes say each other's names a little weird. But yeah, you get to see the masked queen herself.
Oh.
It's a pretty creepy mask, all things considered.
Did you see her mask? She has taken to wearing it of late. But she will not.
And then the second voice-acted Dragon Quest game after 8, which I think is pretty crazy.
It's crazy because the Dragon Quest 8 voice acting was like really something that kind of set the tone for the Western, like the translations from that point forward.
Yeah, that's when they started to have accents and dialects, and characters could have personality, even in different towns, even if the NPCs look the same. But I could not believe that game was not didn't have voice acting in the Japanese release. Because when I think of 8, I think of the voice acting as like one of the great selling points of it. And I'm glad that it's coming to the 3DS version, that the voice acting is intact.
Are you going to get the 3DS version of 8?
Oh, hell yeah! I'll probably get it. I'll probably have it day one on the 20th of January.
I mean, how is it supposed to be? Is it out in Japan already?
Oh yeah, it's been out in Japan, I think, for a while. I know they've added some content. You can play as Red and Mori, who are just side characters in the original game, and I don't know how you get them yet. But I know Mori's the guy who runs the monster arena, and then Red's Yangus's rival lady friend.
Right.
But then there's no random encounters. They did get rid of that.
Oh wow! See, like I haven't followed it at all. I had no intention of getting it.
Really?
Yeah, just because like I like.
You're not really much of a 3DS guy, though, if I recall.
Well, I was. There was a point, like I was. Like Tri likes to give me like a hard time about it because, like before we started the channel, and there was a time where the only time I was like had time to play games was like on the subway, so I'd play like stuff on the PSP or the DS, and I played through so many. Like I played through all the Dragon Quest games available on that system that way. Just like in little bite-sized pieces on the subway. For
which is a great way to experience them.
Yeah, but I mean it's like 45 minutes. every morning and 45 minutes every evening that I get to play it. So I'm like getting like almost 2 hours in every day.
I love this. Not to completely change the subject, but this part in this cutscene where Analyst is like, "Forgive me, my dear lady, but I inquired about my mother, not your brother." Just like, I don't really give a shit. Come on, dude. And it, oh
PokePress,
wait,
PokePress, just send us a message. I know that you sent us a message like a long time ago about it before like we had even like really made a lot of progress in making the Game Boy episode. But yeah, if you want to talk about it, like definitely send us a message, and I'm sure that like Try specifically because he's he wrote it all, and he's the one that's editing it, and I'm sure that he would be more than happy to talk to you about it. But I do remember you sent us a message a long time ago before when we had mentioned that we're gonna do the Game Boy episode, but we didn't. We hadn't really started on it.
Is there nothing more you can tell?
Well, we, though that idiot
But I think that it's probably only like
designer.
$500 for an hour for Try.
yeah, I tried to ask Try to do something for me once, and he quoted me like $750, and
Yeah.
that was just like the down payment.
Word of explanation.
So it was not a famous designer's.
But yeah, I mean, I do remember you sending a message though before.
About my mother's intentions. What we do know is that she was.
But I mean, I don't know.
I
if
know
if-
you.
I don't
Sorry,
know.
go
Sorry, I don't know if anybody caught it before, but that episode is going to be
Mark
like
is unwell.
it's going to probably be like 52 or 53 minutes.
I must return to
It's
the
gonna be-
castle
it's gonna be
at once and
nuts.
attend to her. Forgive me, but
I
I
don't,
don't.
the script was 18 pages. I totally missed this entire story segment. I just know that this girl looks like she's like from a totally different game.
She is the brother, she's the brother. She's the sister of one of the heroes that fought with Claymore against Xiphos, the Deathbringer, and she just met with the Queen, who's in the mask, and the Queen is on her way to a healing spring to meet her with her brother, which sounds really weird, right? Going to a spring with a body of water to meet with somebody's brother, but it all comes together. But her accent is very, very French, and she is also going to be one of your party members.
Yeah, I recognize her from the intro too.
Yeah, no, she's on the cover too. I don't know if you got a case with your game, but
Oh,
she
yeah.
should be on the cover.
Yeah, it was complete. I mean, it looks like the game had
Oh,
never been
yeah.
played.
Which unfortunately is more than likely true. It is crazy to me because when you think of games that they don't get a large printing or they don't sell very well, I don't think of them as being super cheap. I know the demand kind of pushes out the price a certain way, but this game is dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad game, but I know the Wii's not a super highly collectible system, but still, like I would think $20 or something like that. But I think I paid 10, you paid 5. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I have a lot of Wii games actually. It's pretty crazy. I don't like. I think that the system had a lot of great games on it.
it really did. I think.
Fleurette.
Yeah. So there are 8 chapters altogether in this game, and you're on the 3rd chapter now, and I think you're like about almost 2 hours into it, give or take. It is
Maybe.
gonna start picking up.
Is there usually
It's
like
hard.
one like dungeon per?
Yeah, pretty much. I would say, but you will go through I think a couple of them once or twice, if I remember. Like the tower in the castle is the Tower of Mirrors, so you will have to kind of delve into that for a couple things, if I recall.
Yeah.
And there's also, of course, just bonus stuff. Like I said, the main crux of the game comes from like the story. But if you want to get the A rank on stuff to like get better rewards and all that kind of stuff, you can.
Right. Since I just finished the end of the chapter, should I pick a random Wii game to play? For the
Yeah, I
last
mean,
20 minutes?
I think The next chapter is, I think you go out with Florette on a mission, and it is a long one. You have to fight a condor as that chapter's boss on top of a mountain. And I remember that one being like a 20-minute one, so that would take too long, I think. So yeah, if you wanted to
Yeah, let me grab something
check-
random. I'll be right back.
just some random shuffle game. So while Corey's gone, everybody, I'll be your pilot for today. And let me tell you, I like Dragon Quest a lot. If you haven't figured it out. So yeah, I think that was a pretty cool example that Corey has managed to show off just a good chunk of that game. So, and like we said, it's a cheap game. It's like $5. That's what Corey paid for it. So I'd say if you can come across it, check it out. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're into the Dragon Quest series. It's a really cool addition. But even if you're not, or just kind of curious about it, it's a nice introduction to the whole lore of it. I think, as somebody said in the chat earlier. So I would definitely check that out. And as Jimmy said, yeah, Florette does kind of look like a Japanese pop star. I don't know if she was initially designed by Akira Toriyama or not, because she's a bit of a French Gothic pop star, I think is what I thought of her as. Dragon Quest and Dairy Queen. That is exact. I would love that. I think it was a Retronauts episode where somebody said, yeah, when everybody says DQ, I think of Dairy Queen. I think it was during their Dragon Quest episode. Definitely gonna be curious to see what Corey picked out. I bet it's Hello Kitty. Slime soft. Oh man, now I really want this Dragon Quest Dairy Queen thing, because that would be so easy. I know for the 30th, McDonald's did a lot of stuff with Dragon Quest. Like there was a Dragon Quest Happy Meal that you could buy in Japan, or maybe I think it was McDonald's at least.
I'm gonna play something random. It's a game in a series that I would like to do an episode on in the future. It's a remake of the game Cloudmaster.
Oh, I think I've seen this episode of Dragon Ball.
What?
Because it's the Monkey King. So
Right. This is like a budget title, but it's pretty cool.
like most Wii games, but it's those ones that pleasantly surprise you is pretty neat.
And I have finished it.
UFO.
Yeah. Just figured that'd be good. It'd be May instead of...
I think I've heard of Starfish.
Yeah. I mean, they are like a publisher, like a weird... Or no, they're not. They might be developer. I don't... Oh, is
It's
this-
hard to tell sometimes,
Oh,
because
that's
sometimes people splash screen it into different orders.
I like that instead of when you select the end game, it just says, stop the game. Uh-oh, this game is 4x3. All right, this should look okay.
It looks fine to me. I mean, stop the game.
Yeah. I mean, I just figured it's a good way to ride out the last 15
Game
minutes.
over? If you hit stop the game, it says game over?
Yeah.
Wow. Return to menu, game over.
I mean, it's pretty...
Select, and it's not pick a character, it's select your favorite.
yeah. This is like one of those games, if you just get powered up, you're like unstoppable pretty much. And it is like really difficult to lose.
Is the 6th level of this game hell? Is that what it said?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it's Gradius. I didn't think this would be a shoot 'em up or a side scroller or whatever.
Oh, really?
No, I thought it would be like
You
an
can
action
tilt it
platformer.
to make yourself fly forward faster.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
it's still motion controlled.
Well, it's just if you want it to be.
That's pretty cool, though. That at least you have the option. This little shop thing with the wheel reminds me of Conquest of the Crystal Palace on the NES, where you'd find the chick on the level who's just like standing there, like, do you want to buy some items? And you go and like you're in a store, and you can scroll inventory, and then occasionally there'd be a special report, and it'd be the same girl on the TV giving you like, the princess has been kidnapped by evil Chinese overlord.
I wonder if I just like, you know what? I think I stopped the game. I started from the last level.
No, is hell is the end of the game?
Yeah, it had to have been. I see. I don't want to.
I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
It was race mode.
It's got to be a 2-player option.
Yeah, UFO is the publisher brought to the U.S. and Starfish. Okay, yeah, this is the first. Like, well, I can't attack here. This is like, now you can't shoot, can you? Come on. Just let me start from the first level and play the game. I don't want to erase my save. I played through on hard too, it looks like.
It looks cool. Like, I like the style of it.
I'm just gonna say yeah. I'm gonna.
Got a duck. You have to erase it. So, have you ever played the? Speaking of these, like King Story or whatever, those Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles games on the Wii, where it's like my life as a Dark Lord or my life as a king or something.
Oh right, you know I forgot that those even existed.
Them, and I don't think I've ever played them. I think I bought them and never played them, which is kind of like what I do with Steam. It's just like, oh yeah, that's $5.
Yeah, you know that's a tough part about digital stuff. Is like I don't prioritize it nearly as much as I do like if something like a physical game.
Yeah. So somebody just asked. I thought this was Dragon Quest Swords. We just finished with Dragon Quest Swords, but we're kind of at the tail end of the MLiG time slot.
The MLiG. We always refer to it as the MLiG. I don't know why. Like that's.
See, that's the thing. Like if you say MLiG, I'm going to think you're going to say MIG League. That's a pretty bad Donald Trump joke.
MIG. No, I mean it's just like. It's funny because we just like started referring to it as that, like Try and I did.
Kind of folded it into the game room tour.
Right.
Like, I'm working on MLiG, and then he kicks his feet up.
Yeah. That was like the first time he like publicly said it.
Yeah. I need to come up with a fun way to say the 8-bit Duke instead of T8BD, because it sounds kind of like a hip thing, and I don't know. It's like, yeah, I got to work on T8BD, and it's like, okay, see ya. It almost sounds like a see you later like acronym, like you put on AIM.
I've said it before, and you know, like I think that I'm gonna get the chat on my side. I think that the Duke should rebrand his stuff to be an 8-bit image of the original Xbox controller. Like that would be the 8-bit Duke.
I can't believe I never thought of that, but it's probably because I was never an Xbox guy.
Yeah.
Even though I have one now, and the Duke controller is a monster.
Yes.
I remember in high school, people were just like, "Oh yeah, you're the Duke, you're a controller." They're like, "What?" I'm like, I have a GameCube.
Well, no, I think it'd be like a very fun, and like only certain people would get it.
Yeah, I might try to work it into I want to do another like kind of jokey video, like if you remember my my therapist with myself video I did, where I was like, Pac-Man is a board game.
Yeah.
But I might do something like that where I turn, like, I don't know, like, you know how when Gabe Dave turned into a baby.
Yeah.
You know, if I ever do a fun kind of jokey video, I might turn into a controller. You know, something like that. I'm not very good at thinking the humor stuff, though. That's
I know.
definitely Dave's forte.
Yeah, I am not. Like sometimes I'll put some jokey things in there if I feel inspired, but I am like not a very
I
good at coming
definitely,
up with the funnies at all.
yeah, I definitely try to have a bit more of a subtle humor in my videos, like in the Mobius Final Fantasy video when I talk about Garland. And Garland, I think, is a very specific Final Fantasy hero that I think a lot of people have, you know, Garland knock you all down kind of thing. Like, I think it's like, you know, people get that. So when that character says, I am Garland, and then I have the original sound effect of the menu or the text box from the NES game drop down and an actual screenshot of that text box where he's like, impotent fuels, I will knock you all down. Like, I thought that was hilarious. and nobody's mentioned it, so I don't know if anybody like thought it was funny or just like, this guy's an idiot. Some people be like, I don't get it.
I feel like this is
Though sometimes my jokes have gotten just away from me, like in my in my Ghost Lion video, where the first town in that game is bread, and one of your first side quests is to give bread to a woman, and I make like a minute-long joke about it. It's awful. I didn't think it was funny when I wrote it. I didn't think it was funny when I edited it, and it isn't funny 3 years later. Speaking of Game Dave, last night I was out at the barcade for my friend's bachelor party / bachelorette party, which the reason for that / is a story for another day. But I found Crazy Climber on the arcade, which he did a fan recording on, and he was not kidding about that game's controls. It's hard. I got past the first level of that game before I just
killed that boss in like it like got to attack one time, once.
So you gotta quit grinding. You gotta let these bosses give you a little bit of challenge.
Well, maybe I need to move through the level faster so it appears like so it becomes more challenging. That's why I played it on hard. I think is because it's like this is like so easy. What's funny is like when you beat the game, you do the whole game backwards after it. You turn around and play the other way.
Huh. What other games do that? I think I know. Well, yeah, Wario Land Shake It's kind of like that.
Is that the one that's by Treasure?
Yes. Okay. I did a video on that one too.
Because the local Walmart has it, like it's like brand new. It has like a bunch of copies of it, and it's like $30.
Wow, that's expensive.
Yeah.
I think I paid $15 for it, but I got it like a mom pop.
Right.
But I mean, I would pay $30 for it. I think it's a good game, but I don't think it's worth $30 right now.
No.
But
that's what I love about like random.
No, it's not. No, I don't think it's by Treasure. It's by Goodfeel.
Oh, okay.
That's right. It's the same guys who did Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it's yeah, Wario World is by Treasure, as Austin in the chat pointed out. I think sometimes I get them confused. But yeah, Wario Land Shake It was by Goodfeel. And I can't remember. I think it was before they did Epic Yarn.
Oh yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah. But no, it is awesome. But it's in that game is when you beat the level and you rescue the little dude, and you have to race back to the beginning of the level before the time is up. So you have to do it like super quick to get the bonuses. And if you don't get all the bonuses, you don't get the full ending or something like that. It's pretty nuts. Because you don't get all the objectives because it's a Wario game, so there's always little fun things to get extra. But no, if you've never played that game, I definitely recommend it. It's one of those games though it's 4:3 no matter what setting you have. The 16:9 setting of it only adds like extra information to the side of the screen. So like the artwork, the actual gameplay, which is gorgeous. It's a fantastic looking game, but it's 4:3 really no matter what you do.
I just got the GameCube version of WarioWare, which is I guess is a port of the
micro games or party games.
It's like a port of the Game Boy Advance game, right?
Yeah, well, it's basically the multiplayer version of it.
Okay.
It is good for parties. You know, you hook up a bunch of controllers and everybody can take turns playing it or whatever. But yeah, it is. There's nothing unique about it other than that. It's fun though. I have it. It's fun to play them like that. It's definitely a good party game for sure.
Watch how quickly I kill this boss. Speaking of like GameCube games, I was like, if we ever do a marathon, like a charity marathon stream, I feel like it should be F-Zero GX very hard mode and story. So we can like make it through the whole thing. Like will we die before the end of that? I don't know. That'd be kind of fun though.
That'd be pretty crazy.
It'd be extremely challenging. But that's like if we ever do. It's like we were kind of like, you know, I didn't realize the extra life when it was. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think we would have done it if Try didn't have like the charity like stream like this weekend, like the following weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we'll do one eventually.
Yeah, if I could just pump up enough Adderall, I could probably do something like that. It's just hard for me to sit still that long.
Yeah, I'd have to like work out it. It'd have to be a time when my wife and kids
I was just gonna say, you got the fam.
yeah, they'd have to like be out of town.
Somebody wants to know if you got a GameCube component cable eventually, if you're still using the Wii. For
Nope,
GameCube stuff.
I did purchase one. I broke down and got one.
How much did we see the ones at Too Many Games for?
It was
Like
I
one at
think-
like 500 or something, or 300.
No, it was like 200, and I was like, you know, I will do like 150. Is like as high as I was gonna go. No, it might have been 300, and I said like two. Like I said one.
I think it was 300, and the guy was like, "But I'll do 200 because I really need to get rid of them."
Yeah, yeah. And I ended up getting a set for 150. You know, just do it and get it over with.
Yep. Yeah, there's always a paycheck afterwards.
Yeah. So here's something that's kind of like we've been speaking of like upcoming episodes. Well, I mean, we haven't talked about them in a while, but we kind of I pitched an episode, like a collaboration episode that would be like a huge blowout on game capture, like different codecs and capture cards, like essentially just like a really in-depth thing about capturing games, you know, bit rates, you know, streaming, streaming multiple sources at once, stuff like that.
Or why having 10 little boxes of H.264 video on your terrible computer is why you're crashing Adobe Premiere, and not because Adobe Premiere is a crappy piece of software.
10 little boxes of them? What do you mean?
Like if you have too many streams of video, like in your editor, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean like a multicam.
Yeah, something like that. But if they're all like what you typically get out of a capture software is a 264 file, which is a CPU intense codec. And I just see all these people who are just like, I keep crashing Adobe Premiere because it's awful. It's like,
No,
what are you trying to do with it? It's like, well, I have like all these really big files.
Yeah.
And tons of them on screen at once. It's not my computer's fault. I could play games on it. I don't know. I'm just being pissy. Because I don't know. Because sometimes I ask people like, "Hey, so I can help you with your Adobe Premiere thing," and they're just like, "No, it's not. It's Adobe's fault."
Right. I mean, obviously, like the new, like they always have like little quirks about them. Like I gotta have an issue where if I on my Ultra key, it will like if I try to use the soften, like for the edge soften, like the entire video screen goes black, and you have to restart the program to get anything. To show
Yeah,
up.
sometimes the way to fix that I found, now granted I have not had that happen with the Ultra key, but I've had the video black thing happen, is if you go into your project general settings or whatever and change your render engine and then change it back,
Right.
but that's still like useless because you have to get rid of all your render files. So it's like it's quicker to restart it usually, but
Yeah.
it's dumb. But I haven't had that happen on the Ultra Key, but I think the Game Chasers have. I think they had something about they have an Ultra Key issue too, and I think it's the same thing. But I use Keylight and After Effects.
Oh,
What
okay.
I do a lot of chroma key stuff. Though I want to get the key suite for Red Giant.
The what?
Red Giant software has like a keyer suite, I think, and I want to get that for work.
Oh, right.
That's like their own chroma key thing.
Yeah.
But so what would you do this whole blowout thing? You know, just kind of like a how-to kind of thing, or
Yeah, I
kind of
mean,
more-
it'd be like a how-to, but also like information for people. You know, it's I think it would be people would really get something out of it if we just kind of broke down, you know, like the best way to do it, like, you know, also like review, like we want to do a video capture card episode, but this is a good way to kind of get more information in it.
Right. I think that's a cool idea. I know because there's a lot. I don't say there's a lot of like misinformation out there, but I think we all remember the days when we'd see like Let's Plays on the internet, and you'd see unregistered Hypercam 2, you know, in the corner. And I know that's a good Red Supre joke for fans of that show out there. But OBS is a fantastic piece of software.
Yeah.
You know, I use it for all my capture for PC games and stuff. And if I really wanted to, I'm sure I could slam my capture card into it as well. But I am still very upset that my Rec Central for AverMedia for my Extreme Cap U3 does not work very well on my Mac. And that it did not work very well if it was on the same USB hub as my hard drive. Because I thought, you know, I'm not pumping out that much information comparatively that what USB 3 can handle, but it still would not register right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the preview screen for the games I put into it on the Mac is a stuttery, unusable mess until I start recording, and then it's fine. But it's like, great, I'm sitting here thinking like, what the hell's wrong with my HDMI connection to this thing? It's like half frame rate or whatever. Nope. Just the preview window because they haven't updated the software yet, and they won't because it's on a Mac and they don't care.
Right.
It's like the Live Gamer Portable 2 doesn't have a Mac compatible Rec Central 3 version, so I can't use that unless I boot into Windows.
And it sucks because you just got it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've had it for a couple months, and it's not unusable by any means. But like I had the Hauppauge HD PVR 2. Or the gaming edition or whatever the green one was, when I first got into this, when I was still working for Classic Game Room, and that thing just straight up doesn't work anymore. It just you plug it in and nothing's happened to it. But it's like this device is already in use. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is the only thing that's using it. And they're like, no, it's already in use. You can't. So I even gave it to my brother to try to use, and it doesn't work. But he bought an Elgato and has been pretty happy with just kind of casually capturing stuff with it, which means I'm going to have him capture RPGs that I don't have time to play but he wants to play, like the new Star Ocean game.
Mm-hmm.
Because which he does not like that game, I guess, but he's letting me borrow it for now since I just got that PlayStation 4.
Can't believe how many lives you get in this. I saw somebody mention the Super Gun episode. I was saying the third. I want it's coming. It's coming. The third and final device that we want to cover in it is like lost in the mail right now. It came from Germany. It showed up here in Cincinnati last week, and then from Cincinnati it went to someplace in Pennsylvania, then back to Cincinnati, then back to someplace in Pennsylvania, and then to like Jersey City, then someplace in Massachusetts, and I don't know where it is now. It's kind of funny to think about. Hopefully it shows up here eventually. They must have just like had the wrong zip code on it.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. And sometimes it's like, oh, well, if it's the zip code's wrong, we still know the town and all that stuff. Nope.
But I mean, it is what it is. Look at this, the old Wii menu. It's got the Nintendo Direct channel, or Nintendo channel. Sorry, just the flat out Nintendo channel.
Oh man, that's going back a ways.
Yeah, I wonder if I can look at the calendar when was the last time I played anything. I mean, it should have everything. I mean, I'd have to go back. When did the Wii come out? Or the Wii U? Did it come out in...
2012. Pretty sure
Wow.
December 12.
Really? Man. I have to go all the way back. What's that one? I know, I'm just going all the way back to see what the last game that I played on this system was. That I wasn't capturing for like the show. Because now we're like before the show at this point. Let's see. Hopefully it's not anything embarrassing.
It's just, the Wii version of Honey Pop.
Oh, here we go. Played Skyward Sword.
Wow. I like Skyward Sword. I know a lot of people don't, but I think it's good fun.
Yeah, I liked it too.
It could have been better, but I still liked it.
I wonder if I can see if there's anything else here.
Have you played the Castlevania Lord of Shadow games? I think I
played the first one.
I want to play them because for some reason the cutscenes popped up in my YouTube recommended thing, and I watched some of them, and I was like, wow, I actually really want to play these games. And I don't even know if they're any good, but I know. That's one of the reasons why I wish PS3 games were compatible on the PS4. Kind of like how they've made Xbox 360 games work kind of slowly on the Xbox One. I wish they did that on the PS4 because I know my brother has all those Castlevania games. And I really want to play them all of a sudden. And I think it's just because I played through Aria of Sorrow the other day, and I'm in the Castlevania mood.
Yeah. I thought the first one was good. I have the second one because it was like $11 at one point.
Nah.
Any
And I don't mind a good reboot, a good retcon or
Yeah.
offshoot kind of story every now and then. I know that's kind of what it is.
See, any intention of covering 3DS as an emulation unit for visual fidelity? We talk about Game Boy Advance and Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on the 3DS. But that's in the Game Boy episode.
Isn't it weird that the new 3DS is the only one that has its pixel perfect mode or whatever, the 1-to-1?
Yeah, man, those are going to be... I want a regular size one, not an XL, and they're going to be $100 on Black Friday. I really kind of want to get one. I don't have a new...
It is kind of weird because so Dragon Quest VII on the 3DS has a little bit of menu lag, noticeably so. You get used to it. I think you do all lag, but it's definitely there. And I don't know if it's because I have an old 3DS XL and not one of the fancy new ones, but it's it's the menu. The 3D mode's off, whatever, but it's still you hit the button and it's 4 frames or 5 frames of delay before anything happens. And wow, that really gets to you. Because it feels laggy that way.
And it's not like that on the new one?
I don't know. I haven't read or really looked into it at all, but it would be something I'd be interested in finding out. Because if so, it's crap, and I'm worried what 8 will be like if that's the case. Because 8's a significantly more intense game on the 3DS than 7 is, because there's more character models and detail.
Right. So apparently it was looks like it was July 19th, 2011 when I beat Super Mario RPG on the and that was like before I had owned the cartridge. I probably bought the cartridge like right after.
See, it's one of the games I'm glad I've managed to hold on to forever.
You have like
Is
a
my
complete
copy.
version, right?
I do. I don't have complete much of anything. I never owned a complete Super Mario RPG though. I had to buy that used when I was like 8, which was not long after it came out. And that was when eBay was in its early days. Is when I got Mario RPG,
Yeah.
and it was like $40 then, like card only.
That's one thing I've been kind of doing is going back because, you know, like when I rebought a lot of stuff, like starting in like 2010 or so, like going back and like looking at my eBay receipts. I don't know why it came out like that. Receipts like in my email, and you know, it's just interesting because certain things are just like so much more expensive now.
Yeah, I need to amass my collection a little bit more now that as you say I've caught the analog bug.
Yeah, like once you kind of get into that, you know, it's fun.
It's neat, especially I think because if I want to do videos on stuff, I want to be able to show like a full product. Like, you know, it's what's so easy about collecting the Japanese Dragon Quest games. Like the boxes and the manuals are so cheap, and there's so much stuff to look at and behold. Like one of the things I do want to get is they do have an art book of Akira Toriyama's designs through like all the Dragon Quest games. It's like $60, and it's huge, and I really want to get that. I just haven't had the will to do it yet. But then I also want to get I want to buy some lots on eBay one of these days of just a bunch of games and just see what I get and
yeah,
do
but
it.
they rarely have anything like a really
Like a good
nothing
lot.
like yeah, there's nothing that's like worth like money or anything really in there.
Yeah.
That's
But then
mainly-
again, if I get like a bunch of, you know, like a box of stuff and I at least don't own it, you know, that's one thing and it's not very expensive. But I just got to hit up another con. You know, I think MagFest. You know, I've been saving up for MagFest for a while now, so I should be able to, you know, walk out of there with hopefully a decent amount of new stuff.
yeah.
That'll be my Christmas present to myself since it's, you know, so close to the holiday. Be into the frickin' first week of the year.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean
nuts.
that's what it was like the year before. No, I mean, I guess it
It
wasn't the
was,
year before, but when I first started going, it was like the first weekend of the year.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people I know who went. It was one of the first times they got it. Was pretty early because I know the first year I went, it was the end of January, and then this year it's the this past year it was the end of February, and then this year coming up it's January 4th or 5th or whatever. I get there on the 4th. I know that.
Oh, I loaded all my I wish that I knew a way to make it so I could take all the virtual console games that I had that I transferred to the Wii U and play them on. If anybody wants to like tell me how I can make all these work again on my system, you know, using Homebrew, if there's a way to do that, like I have all these on my SD card. These are all games that I bought, but I transferred them to the Wii U, but I'd love to have them back on my Wii instead. If anybody knows of a homebrew way of making that happen, send us a message, like on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitter, because I would love to make these work. Because I have all the files. It's just that, you know, once I go to try to start it,
Yeah, it just doesn't let you
it's-
do it.
channel cannot be launched because it's
I was gonna say, man, and you have the after years on the Wii version. I mean, and that's not a version that gets talked about.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stuff on here. It's just that I want to be able to play them in 240p. So, I mean, especially for like capture service reasons, I would love to have all these accessible on this system again. So
Yeah.
if anybody knows how to do that, like through Homebrew, because I do have the Homebrew channel installed. I just haven't done anything with it.
I'll have to look into that a little bit more because now that I'm getting more into the Homebrew channel stuff again, because that would be good
Right.
good knowledge to have. Now, granted, I never did a lot of purchasing on the Wii for myself, but yeah, that'd be good to know.
All right. I'm getting some.
So Blade Blur says download Launcher GX and get a USB drive for it. I don't know much about Launcher GX myself, but I've heard that name thrown around a few times, but I don't know if that'll work for those games or not.
Yeah. I mean, I will probably have to re-download them all, but I'm okay with that too if I need to do that.
Have to see. Have to look into it.
It's just weird that it makes it so that
And Nintendo's not exactly very friendly with that whole cross-buy or cross-platform, whatever.
Right. But I would, like, I wish I didn't transfer all these. But it is what it is. All right, I think that is going to do it for us for this week. Duke, thanks for hanging out,
Anytime.
especially
Glad
at
to be here.
such short notice.
Yeah, Corey was already like halfway through the stream. It was like, we need somebody on here.
Just talking to myself. As I said before, I'm going. The NES Mini should show up tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, then it shows up on Tuesday, and I'm going to just really try to get it out for this weekend. I have a freelance job starting on Thursday. I'm not sure how crazy it's going to be yet, or if it's going to get crazy like right away. So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm going to try and get it out for the weekend.
That'll be cool.
I mean, it's not gonna be some epic. I wouldn't expect like an epic blowout of it, but I mean, we're gonna do what we do, in the way that we do it. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna compare it against the NES and RGB upscaled, and like I think it would be fun to do how the composite filter looks versus like straight composite in, and also like I'll do like an off-screen shoot of composite going into a PVM and a consumer CRT to see how it looks. Like I just think that'd be kind of fun to do it. But we'll see.
I think it'll be neat. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. All right, everybody. We'll see you next weekend.
Bye.
Have a great night.